Hello, everybody. How you guys doing? Trey Ratcliff here. I just got back from an amazing 2 weeks in Japan. Went off exploring all these little mountain, snowy villages, and I thought we would process a photo together using the new Aurora HDR. Okay. Um, so here is the photo I've selected for us to work on today. Hey, do you see these three photos? Uno, dos, tres, son. We are going to work on these three. Okay. So even though I was on a tripod, I usually pick auto alignment anyway. So that's just how I roll. And then during the nighttime, I never turn on chromatic aberration. Okay, I'm not worried about ghost either. There weren't many people moving around. I'm going to say create HDR. Now, while this is going on, let me show you a few other photos that I made with Aurora HDR that you might find interesting. This is a really cool town called Shirakawa-go. Far north of a place called Takayama. I have a long story, by the way. I stayed overnight in some of these little barns. That one in the very back I stayed in, it was really quiet. It was like a ryokan. And then about midnight, I discovered, my gut told me that I had explosive diarrhea. And that ryokan was not so quiet after that. Not my finest hour. Man, it was embarrassing. A lot of awkward looks the next day at breakfast. Now, this is an amazing place called Ginzan Onsen, okay? And this is also where the next photo is. You see that little red bridge down there? I went down there and took another photo. I try to, make hay while the sun is shining, while the moon is shining, I guess, in this case. I got a question over in my Facebook group, which you're welcome to join, by the way. I'll put a link to it. About if you should do multiple photos or not, okay? Now, Aurora HDR works great with a single RAW file, but one reason that I like to use multiple at night is because there's lights of varying degrees, right? And sometimes a light can be blown out, like on a 15-second exposure. So that's why you want to make sure you bring a -2 into it so that all the lights are perfectly exposed, and then Aurora will balance out all the lights to make them seem more or less equally bright, okay? Here's another close-up of those farmhouses at dusk. A nice little reflection shot there. This is taken in Tokyo around midnight. This is the TD Tadami line. This is a single raw photo that I ran through Aurora, and I really like the way it turned out. And we'll end us kind of on a fun note. This is one of my new friends. His name's Brandon Watts, and he is a new lover of Aurora HDR. He plays for the Rams. I don't know if you follow the NFL or what. But yeah, so we spent a lot of time in Japan taking photos. Then at night, we would go back like nerds, sit in the lounge, have wine, and process photos with Aurora. So he's a new fan. Okay, let's see where we're at with this one. Okay. All right, here we are. It's already looking pretty good. Okay. Let's look at, let's do this little slider for before and after. You can see what Aurora has already done to it. Come on. Look how good that is. Good job, Aurora. I like it. And you see this person over here is a little ghosted? Doesn't bother me. I think it's kind of cool. Doesn't bother me at all. Okay, now let's amp it up just a little bit more. Okay. Let's see here. What should we do first? First, I really want to amp up the HDR-ness to get more texture and have a more of a illustrative effect for the onsen area here. So I'm going to add a new layer. Okay, and here I'm really going to amp up the HDR enhance and the smart structure. Okay, a little bit of smart tone will bring up those darker areas too. Maybe a little bit of vibrance too. Oh yeah, ride the vibrance pony. Nobody's ever said that in the history of tutorials. And let's keep it that way in the future. So now I'm just painting in here on this and the bridge. Because even though everything's interesting in the photo, you don't want there to be perfect detail everywhere. There's a sliding scale of detail. Not that it's totally blurry or totally sharp, but you just want a sliding scale. So you can see here where I've kind of masked in this area. Okay, like this. Cool. So that means all the effects there that I just did, like for example, I bring down saturation, all the way you see that part turns black and white. So now any adjustments I make will just be there. Okay, let's bring the clarity up even more. A little microstructure for the details. You really have to zoom into 100% to see the full thing there. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Okay, now Let's do this kind of, because it's a fairy tale town, I like to use image radiance. So I'm going to amp this up a lot, really pull up the shadows, and make it warmer. Okay, but I'm not going to do this everywhere again. I'm just going to do it in a few little areas, just to have a little bit of glow. It makes the lights glow even more, right? We'll have a little bit of, oh, that's too yellow. It's too orange. I like the white snow there. A little bit over here. These lights. Oh, yeah. So you can see where I just painted there. Give some glow. And last, I'm going to add a vignette to the whole thing. So I'll make another layer. Go down here to vignetting. Down here at the bottom. And then drop that down. Okay. And that, again, the centerpiece of this is the bridge. You really want that red bridge with the white to pop out. Okay. So adding some nice vignetting makes it nice and romantic. Look at that. Okay, that's it. Pretty easy, huh, sports fans? Let's look at a little before and after. Look at that. Good job, Aurora. Good job, Aurora. All right, you guys. I'll keep sharing your photos in the Aurora HDR group. Pop on over to my group if you want to also. Good place to make friends and share your work. We're all in this together. Okay, I'll be making more of these videos in the future. Hope you enjoyed. And just keep using Aurora HDR, man. It's awesome. I use it all the time. I'm like obsessed. I'm obsessed with it. Hope you guys are too. All right, love you and see you next time. Bye.